You walk into a store just to look. 20 minutes later, you're at the register, bag in hand. What happened in between? Nobody grabbed you. Nobody forced anything. But somewhere between the door and the counter, you were steered. A sign here, a smile there. A tiny yes you didn't even notice giving. It felt like your own idea the whole time. Somebody knew exactly which button to press. In the 1970s, a psychologist named Robert Cialdini got suspicious. He kept getting talked into things. Magazine subscriptions, donations, cars he didn't need. So he went undercover. For 3 years, he trained as a salesman, a fundraiser, a recruiter, writing down every trick that worked. And he found something unsettling. The tricks weren't random. They pressed the same handful of buttons over and over. He called them the weapons of influence. 6 buttons. Start with the one hiding in that free gift. The first weapon is reciprocity. You give me something, I feel I have to give back. It's one of the oldest rules our species has. A favor creates a debt, and that debt itches until you pay it. In 1971, a researcher named Regan built an experiment around it. 2 people rate some paintings together. One is a real subject. The other secretly works for Regan. Halfway through, the secret helper leaves the room. Sometimes he comes back with 2 sodas, one for him, one for you. A small, unasked favor. Other times, he brings nothing. Then, at the end, he asks a favor back. Would you buy some raffle tickets? The people who got a soda bought twice as many tickets. Here's the strange part. It didn't matter if they liked him. A soda costs less than the tickets. The math was bad. They paid anyway, because the debt itched, and paying it back felt like relief. This is why you get free samples, free trials, a mint with your restaurant bill. The gift was never really a gift. It was the first move. Reciprocity has a sneakier cousin, too. Ask for something huge, get turned down, then ask for something small. The retreat feels like a favor. Now it's your turn to give a little ground back. You didn't get a gift. You got a concession. Your brain treats them the same. The second weapon is commitment. Once you take a small step, you want to stay consistent with it. We hate contradicting ourselves. Say yes once, and the next yes comes easier. In 1966, 2 researchers, Freedman and Fraser, knocked on doors in California. They asked homeowners a huge favor. Put a giant, ugly billboard on your front lawn, a sign that said, "Drive carefully," blocking the whole house. Almost everyone said no. Of course they did. Only about 1 in 6 agreed. But one group was different, and they'd been set up 2 weeks earlier. Earlier, those homeowners had been asked a tiny favor: display a little 3-inch sign. Almost everyone says yes to something that small. Why wouldn't you? But that little yes quietly rewired them. They had become the kind of person who supports safe driving. That was the new story. So 2 weeks later, when the giant billboard came up, the huge favor fit the story. This time, more than half of them said yes. A tiny sign turned into a monstrous one. One small yes did all the work. This is why forums ask you to start with one easy question: why the free trial wants your email before it wants your money. The first yes is cheap. It's the door. Your own need to stay consistent walks you through the rest. The third weapon is social proof. When we're unsure, we copy the crowd. If everyone's doing it, it must be safe. That shortcut usually works. Usually. Picture a stranger lying on a busy sidewalk. Everyone glances, but nobody stops. Because nobody else is stopping. Each person reads the calm on every other face and decides it must be fine. It isn't fine. It's just everyone waiting for someone else to react. Now flip it. A tip jar that already has a few bills in it. The bills aren't there by accident. They're a message. People like you already gave. It's why ads shout bestseller. Why we scroll straight to the reviews. Why a laugh track tells your brain when something was funny. Hotels learned this trick with a small card in the bathroom. Signs that begged guests to reuse their towels for the planet barely worked. Then researchers changed one line. Most guests who stayed in this room reused their towels. Suddenly, more people did it. Not for the planet. Because the last person in that bed did. We're not stupid for using it. Following the crowd is usually a decent bet. But a crowd can be faked. And a faked crowd points wherever someone wants. The question is never just what's everyone doing. It's who arranged the everyone. Which brings us to the button that needs no crowd at all. The fourth weapon is authority. We obey the expert, the badge, the title. And here's the catch. We often obey the costume, not the person. In the 1960s, Stanley Milgram showed how far this goes. An experimenter in a lab coat told ordinary people to give painful shocks to a stranger. No gun, no threat. Just a calm voice saying the experiment requires that you continue. Most of them kept going, further than anyone predicted, because an authority said so. The uniform did the work. A coat, a title, a confident tone. This is why ads put actors in doctor coats. Why a suit gets waved past a rope. Real expertise is worth trusting. That's the whole point of expertise. But a symbol of authority is not the same as the real thing. The trick is to check the credential, not just the costume. 2 weapons left, and they're the ones that feel the most like you. The fifth weapon is liking. We say yes to people we like. And we like people who are attractive, familiar, and similar to us. A salesperson who shares your hometown, your taste in music, your first name even. None of it is about the product. It's about closing the gap between you. Compliments work even when we know they're buttering us up. Salespeople are trained to find common ground fast. It's not always fake, but it's always aimed. The Tupperware party is the masterpiece here. You're not buying from a company. You're buying from your friend who invited you. Saying no to the pitch feels like saying no to her. Liking is real, and warmth is a gift. Just notice when the warmth arrives right before the ask. The last weapon might be the strongest of all. The sixth weapon is scarcity. We want what we might lose, not what's rare exactly. What's disappearing? In 1975, researchers ran an experiment with, of all things, cookies. They gave one group a jar with 10 cookies. Another group got a jar with only 2. Same cookies, same recipe. The only difference was how many were left. The people with only 2 rated their cookies as more desirable. Scarce simply tasted better, even though nothing about the cookie had changed. Then they added a twist that made it even stronger. One group started with 10 cookies, then watched 8 get taken away. Cookies that became scarce right in front of them were rated highest of all. Losing it beats never having it. That's the engine underneath scarcity. Only 3 left. Sale ends tonight. Limited edition. The countdown clock isn't about the clock. It's about the fear of the gap it leaves. The moment something feels like it's slipping away, we stop thinking and start grabbing. It's why banning something makes people want it more. Tell a group they can't have a thing, and suddenly that thing looks priceless. And that's the 6th button. The whole panel is complete. Step back and look at all 6 together. Reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, scarcity. Notice what they have in common. Not one of them argues with you. None of them lays out facts and lets you decide. They all skip your thinking and press something older underneath. Because most of the day, you're not deciding. You're running on autopilot. And that's not a flaw. You have to. A world where you carefully reasoned through every choice would grind to a halt. So your brain built shortcuts. Fast, mostly right rules of thumb. The weapons of influence are shortcuts, turned against the person using them. The click is automatic. Somebody just learned where the tape starts. Which raises the real question. If the buttons are always there, what can you actually do? You can't unplug the buttons, they're standard equipment. They kept your ancestors alive. But you can add one step. A pause. When you feel the pull to say yes, stop and ask where the pull is coming from. Do I actually want this? Or do I just owe them for the soda? Would I want it if it weren't the last one? If the crowd weren't watching? Cialdini's own defense was simple. Feel the click and treat it as a signal. The feeling isn't the enemy. It's the smoke alarm. A jolt of now or never urgency is information. It's telling you a button just got pressed. You don't have to fight the feeling. You just have to hear it and slow down. The people who study these weapons aren't smarter than you. They just know the names. And a button you can name is a button you can choose not to press. So the next time a stranger hands you a small gift, you can still take it. Still say thank you. Still enjoy it. You'll just know, this time, that the first move has been made. And you get to decide the next one.